Today is Saturday, November 9th, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 47, Week 8.
Yes, this is an interesting week. Well, again, they're all together. We get an all-together vote. There's some unique events that occur. And I'm anxious to get the other fans' reads on those, and some predictions for what's going to happen next.
Okay, let's do it.
First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling it. Wow, another phenomenal episode and an emotional blindside by a woman. I'm digging the season 47, baby. So I'm going to let out a great big... And may I say, although I'm a little sad she's gone, this is from a song from the Moments of the 60s. Bye, bye, baby, bye, bye. I don't have the high tenor voice, but that's what it is with Sierra, guys. And last week it was Tiana. Very emotional for sure. Clearly, again, Sierra did not see that coming, but I'm glad she's on the jury. I think the issue with what led to that was Ian and with Sam as well. I think they knew they had a loose cannon in Andy, and of course, when Andy had those 2 votes 2 weeks ago, you knew it wasn't going to bold well, and I think they still thought they could have carried him a little deeper until they may have had to get rid of him, but he was a loose cannon, and he was Sierra and Sam's demise, especially Sierra since she's in the jury house now. Man, so much for that yellow team working with red team. Now, I don't know, Sam, how much chaos is Sam going to cause now? Because when they show the next time on, that could be a misdirect. I bet you he's the next one on the outs. Rachel, I almost thought was going to play her idol. Thank God she didn't. Better off wasting the shot in the dark there and keeping the idol for a better time. But Rachel's flying under the radar right now. That was awesome how she was able to somehow put the idol in her back at the auction with the fries because they were drafted with Genevieve's auction item. And then to find the idol on the shelter there where the roof is, with just, 11 other tribe mates are right under there. Good for her. But man, I don't know what to make, guys, of Andy. Now, I mean, you could argue to his credit by working, I know he's been close with Saul, and then he went to the members of the blue team like Caroline and Gabe, to orchestrate getting rid of Sam and Sierra. Well, I think now that you could see Sierra's pissed off and bitter. I want to see what she says in her interview. I bet she'll say he has no chance of winning. And I think Andy still is the goal of the season, unless something drastic happens. But hey, he's playing the game for sure. Hats off to Sue, pulling on a Denise Stapley there as an older woman in their 40s, winning immunity. Good for her, considering she's been an emotional wreck, missing her kids, wanting to be with them. And how about Kyle? Is he going to be the new Aussie Tom Westman winning all immunities? We'll see, guys. It's anyone's game, guys. I got to hear now Sierra's interview, how bitter she is, and the Probes podcast about what led them to put this idol advantage in that cheeseburger award that Rachel ended up getting. Very interesting, guys, but I'm digging this season. Take care. Woo.
Whoa. I expected her to be extremely bitter, too, given her exit. But she wasn't like that at all in the exit interviews that I checked out. And she was giving Andy, I think in one, she even said 100% credit for knocking her out. It's not presented that way to us in the edit. There were lots of people that were shooting for her, primarily other women that had targeted her. But
Okay, so they're not showing us all of what she was saying.
Well, I mean, this is her interviews happened just this week.
Yeah.
All this happened months
She's
ago.
had time to think it through and
Yeah, multiple
talk to people
iterations.
and-
And
right.
even though she gets the sting again of watching it happen from that perspective. Yeah.
Yes.
And she said she knew something was wrong because her and Teeny were always cracking each other up. They seemed like fast friends as soon as they met. And she said before tribal council, Teeny wouldn't look her in the eye, which we know is a classic sign.
Yep.
And she said she went out to she saw Genevieve and Andy out in the water talking. So she said, I'm going out there. And when she started heading out there, Genevieve got up and left. And then she asked Andy, and she said Andy told her, yeah, we were planning to get rid of you later in the game. And she said with Andy, it was primarily her fault because she didn't maintain a tighter connection with him at the merge. You know, at the merge, there's all these new people to meet and all those new connections to make and all that, and she didn't put the time in because he had told him what he needed, right? He needed to be coddled. He needed people to clap when he opened the coconut and cheer.
Yep.
And she wasn't there cheering for him with every little
and
thing.
even in this episode, she was obviously letting him know she still didn't trust him.
Well, I think from her perspective, she was checking in. I'm still your island sister. When she asked that, we saw that part. That was after the Genevieve walked away thing, and she was talking to Andy.
Still questioning, are you with us now? Are you?
Yep.
But I don't know. I felt like he knew he was still on the bottom, and that she did not make him feel any different.
That's essentially what she was saying in the interviews. Yeah. She didn't continue to maintain that relationship because she said there were times when he was sharing information with her, she was sharing information with him, so that partnership was working. But come merge time with all the other possibilities, and let's be fair, I've known people somewhat like Andy before, the ones that have that, it's a slight variation, I think, of where he's at, where they have that Eeyore complex, like from Winnie the Pooh, and their energy just drags you down, and there's only so much of that. You only got so much energy while you're out there. There's only so much of that you could afford to spend on an Andy. So I'm sure it was easy not to put that time in, and she's saying, yeah, it came back and bit me.
All right. Let's hear what Robert has to say.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. I hope that everyone enjoyed this week's episode. For me, I thought it was just okay. I was really happy when they first brought back the Survivor auction into the new era. But at this point, I don't know, the segment to me this week felt a little bit long, and the format of it kind of feels a little bit stale. I think that part of the problem is they've done things to make it more interesting, like you lose your vote if you're left with the most amount of money, which sounds really interesting, but it makes it sort of less interesting when people are just dumping their money as fast as they can, and each item is just going to the next person who has that most amount of money. Like, there's not actually really any bidding going on. But I think there's a few tweaks that they could do to it if they want to keep it around. So I'm kind of indifferent. If it's around next season, great. Hopefully they've tweaked it. If not, I think more tribe time is better. I don't know if they can change it where maybe it's more like blind bidding, and maybe when people go find the tubes, if they want to stick to that format, they could have it where they have random amounts of money, but also some of them have no money, some have lots of money, and maybe that money is actually not revealed until they get to the auction, and it's sort of kept private to the Survivor player, and everything's sort of done blind bidding. I don't know if that could work somehow. And then maybe incorporate advantages, and Jeff would probably want to have maybe one disadvantage, which that'd be fine, but maybe they don't find that out until they get back to camp and they look in their bag what they got, and nobody knows who got it if it's all done sort of blind bidding. I don't know, I think there's things that they could do definitely to make it more interesting. For the immunity challenge this week, it's definitely one of my favorites. Kyle Sure turning himself into the biggest target. As soon as he loses, he's likely going to be going home. I think for next week, obviously, Kyle's a possibility to go home, but I have a different target in mind for my vote off. Of course, Sam could be retargeted. That's who I had as my vote off this week. Rachel's an obvious possible target, but I think she's smart enough, and she has an ally in Saul who I think will let her know if she's on the chopping block. And even if that intel isn't shared, I think she's smart enough to play her idol. But my prediction for next week is that this week we saw a couple get split up, and next week there's going to be another couple, and what it is everyone's going to really know that Sue and Gabe are close. Sue's going to really go to bat for Gabe. People are going to see that they need to split them up. And so I predict that one of them is going to go home. And as of now, I'm thinking Gabe. But I look forward to all the other fans' predictions, and that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I still think Sue will consider playing her idol for Gabe to preserve that alliance.
I don't know. If people are on to it, that only gets you one vote further, but sometimes that's all you need. So
We haven't seen any evidence that they're onto it.
no, we haven't. But I think they do believe that everybody, that Sue, Caroline, and Gabe are very tight. I don't know how much they think Kyle is there or not, but I think Kyle would turn, but he doesn't have a need to at this time. Because everybody's going to want to take him out anyway, whether it's his other three
Yeah.
from the old tribe or everybody else. He's winning immunities, so of course he's a target.
Yep.
All right, up next we have a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California with feedback for week 8. And I just have to say again, I'm so happy that the podcast is back, that you guys move safely and you're able to share all your thoughts with us again. This community is so lovely, and it was not the same without hearing you every week. And I was so grateful to have the listener feedback show again. Thank you all for contributing. It's really such a wonderful community of people who love the show so much and come together to share their thoughts every week. So here are mine. What a fun episode. Absolutely delightful episode. The auction episode is always very fun. And I think for me, I really like to get to see them eat, like really good food. I thought, okay, I love Kyle so much. I hope they never vote him out. I hope he makes it to the final. I just think he's so sweet. He's so nice. He's so down to earth. And I love that he pivoted and he was like, well, I guess I'm going to eat chicken wings, even though I was a vegetarian coming into it. Okay, vegan is you don't eat anything with animal products at all, like no eggs, no butter. And vegetarian is you eat eggs, butter, so on and so forth. You just don't eat meat. But I liked that he said, hey, I need calories. I'm going to do what I have to do. And if I'm going to break my dietary code, I'm going to do it on Survivor. And yeah, I gave him juice and he won immunity again, which was fantastic. Love Rachel so much. I love that she got another advantage. I really love the way she played her shot in the dark to assess everybody, to see if she should play her immunity idol. It was so frustrating last season when nobody was playing their idols. They were holding on to them and being voted out. And this cast is just so much smarter about using what they have and not holding on to it forever. And it's less frustrating to watch. Rachel, I love her. Genevieve, I love her. I had Sam as my vote out, and I knew it was going to be either him or Sierra. And I just put my money on Sam. I felt like since he was a bigger personality that he might go out first. I didn't think he'd win immunity because he hasn't been in like the final clutches of an immunity challenge yet. And hey, maybe that will change next week. But I just felt like he's the bigger personality. He's the bigger threat. I didn't see Sierra at all as the bigger threat. And when it was a tie vote, I was actually quite surprised that they voted out Sierra. But she's on the jury. We'll get to see her and she'll be all cleaned up and beautiful. I loved Andy's transformation, the he's all that. I'm going to shake out my hair and play a little dirty. I thought that was great. Don't take the players for granted. Don't think that everyone who is there is not a really viable person to help you get further in your game. And if you take them for granted, maybe they'll stab you in the back. I have 3 more classes after this to finish my BA. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's so great. And over the Christmas holidays, I will actually be taking this really intense math class to knock that requirement out, and I'm scared. If I was in the auction, I would lose because I wouldn't be able to count my money. That's how bad I am at math. Anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy. So glad you guys are back. I hope you're getting your boxes unpacked. Bye.
Not very quickly.
Not enough. We're sitting here in the living room looking at a stack that's like, what is that, 5 feet high at least there? And 1, 2, 3,
Just more
4
than 5
rows
feet.
deep.
It's more than 5 feet, but that top box is empty.
Yes,
but
we can break that
someone's
down.
forgotten how to break boxes down.
We're going to have a tutorial later today on that, I think. Is that right? I saw that on the schedule.
Yes, I've mentioned that before. I'd be happy to refresh you on that.
Where we can just go place it in the stack of broken down boxes that's
that
rapidly
I emptied, yes.
rapidly
Yes,
filling the
that would be-
garage. Just
Oh,
a place where
those.
we
Oh,
don't,
goodness, we've got
where we-
stacks to go out
where we
there.
can't see them.
Yeah. It's a good thing I sold my car, I guess, because there's no room for it out there.
No
It's
room
full
for
of
2
boxes.
cars. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just want to be able to get the closet door open. So we have a few other things going on, to
Yep.
be real. And everything was not as it should be. So we are scrambling to try to fix this place. And so that's why we're not getting as much progress. So. Okay, we're not lazy. We just have a lot of other things cooking. So, all right. Thanks, Rebecca.
You wouldn't have to do the math, Rebecca. Probst puts it on. That's what the big board's
That's right.
for. He
That's right.
shows
They
you
do it for you.
how much money that you have left.
Don't even have to worry about it.
Yep, good stuff. Next up, we got a call from Nora.
Well, hi, Stacey and Joanne. It's Nora in Canada. I am so over the moon for this season of Survivor. I am enjoying it like I can't even put words to it. It's so great. Unfortunately, they did a tiny error. Now, this is tiny. This is just picking when they chose Sierra over Sam, because Sam is the obvious alpha male. Get him out. He's going to win immunity. They can't get Kyle out, who's the legitimately biggest natural target right now because of his immunity. But they did that thing where I really feel it's an unconscious thing in players where, oh, there's the giant alpha male with the smarty sneakies, and we need to get him out, Sam. But we go for his female sidekick instead. I'm not going to say, oh, it's your unconscious sexism, but it kind of accidentally works out like that, maybe. I can't get the actual predatory male, so I'll get his female sidekick. And to hear Genevieve, who I think is a star, a genius, say, oh no, it's the social is the more dangerous instead of the physical. Okay, that's legitimate, but come on. If you've got, look at Kyle. He has you tied up 3 immunities in a row. You know you want him out first. You can't get him right now. Sam could legitimately be in that position as well. So kind of bugs me. It really does. I think they think, oh, it's because of social reasons. But is it? Is it not just... Like, it's a very good idea to, when you can't get your actual scariest player out, get his female sidekick, because that's a little easier. It feels... Anyway, I'm going too deep into that criticism. I just want to say, in general, wow, this is so much better than... For me, the nadir, the lowest point of Survivor watching was 45, when the 4 of them, the 2 couples, met on pretty well the first day and said, let's make a solid 4, swear to God, that's us, and then they just wiped everybody out. That was, I hated it the most. But to me, in the history of Survivor, Rick Devens was my favorite season of all. Watching him never give up, watching him try everything. Like, to me, Rick Devens was the best Survivor player ever. And I exclude, guys like Rob, Boston Rob, who, remember, he held a whole team captive and wouldn't let them break out in pairs. That's just silly. You're not playing, you're dominating, you're bullying at that stage. But for legitimate play, Rick Devens is my number 1. But wow, congratulations to all this cast. I'm so happy to see the auction and thrilled that you guys are back.
Oh, thanks, Nora. If you go back and watch, you'll see that I think the women were primarily calling that shot on Sierra. So I don't know if they think Sam's
Were they, though? Because the men wanted women out, remember?
Not specifically, but, they weren't targeting her as much, at least from what they showed us. So I think it's the savvier, more skilled women players that are perceiving
afraid.
Sierra
Yes.
as the bigger threat, and that's really where that's coming from. I don't know if Sam's going to win individual immunity unless he's late in the game, because I don't know that he could beat Saul. I don't know that he could even beat Andy. And he performed horribly in this last challenge.
Oh, yes.
He has
that
zero grip
really
strength.
surprised
As Charlie would say.
Really surprised me.
Yeah. He
He went
hasn't
out
shown himself as a
first.
physical threat in any way.
Well, if he's hiding it, that's one good way to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm buying it. But-
Good deal. Thanks, Nora. Next up, got an email from Tara in New York.
Hi again, everyone. I really enjoyed this episode and found it to be a much needed distraction. Finally, the real merge is here.
Yes.
And it seems like the field is wide open. I love the Karate Kid scene with Saul and Kyle, even though it made me feel old. I'm not sure if Saul should have told Rachel about the advantage, but I really like them as a duo. Saul's Secret Agents has a good ring to it.
I like the alliteration.
One quick thing caught my attention during the search for auction money. We saw Sue swoop in behind Carolyn to grab a money tube before she could get it. And Carolyn then says something like, "Aw, good for you." We've seen this happen a few times. Sue gets an advantage, like the idol, and Caroline acts like her cheerleader instead of looking out for herself. I wonder if that will come back to bite her. The auction is always great, and incorporating the gross food challenge was icky but fun. I liked it a lot more than the auction in season 45, but I'm still not big on the lose your vote twist. I have an idea for the more traditional auction, so thought I'd ask what you all think. What if they were all told that the only possible advantage will be secretly added to one random item? The person that happens to buy that item, even if it's fish eyes, then secretly receives
Discreetly.
discreetly receives the advantage back at camp in their belongings. Like in the past, everyone could just bid on the items that they want without holding out for anything else. Afterwards, it would also create suspicion back at camp. Overall, I'll always take any auction over none, though. As far as the vote and tribal council, I was so excited to finally get a vote out point until
Nice.
Sierra went instead of Sam. Sigh.
Okay.
I was very clear that they both mismanaged Andy and that bit them. Andy may not get credit for the vote, but he was a catalyst for sure. Also, Rachel's move with the shot in the dark to see the group's reaction was brilliant. These players are so fun to watch all together, and I'm so excited to see what happens next. I think Tuku may be targeted this coming week. Kyle is an obvious target if he can't somehow get protection, but the feud between Andy and Sam might blow up too. It looks like everything will get crazy, and I can't wait to see it. I really look forward to hearing from all of you. As always, thanks so much, Joanne and Stacy. Take care, everyone. All right. Thanks, Tara.
Yeah, Probst talked about Rachel's move as being game-changing, just a big moment in the history of the game, leveraging the shot in the dark that way.
Yeah, it's a new use for it. Oh, so what do you think of Tara's idea?
Yeah, I guess I like that. One of the things that, Charlie from season 46 is co-hosting the On Fire podcast with Probst, and he said one of the things...
Charlie?
Yep. One of the things he picked up on was in season 45, Probst clearly stated no advantages in this auction. And he said, you didn't say that this time. And so I was wondering if anyone, had picked up on that. And Probst said, look, we may have advantages in, we may not. I'm not going to say one way or the other going forward that there's always going to be advantages now. But I like that, I guess, as a twist. It's another way. I guess it takes a little bit of the risk out. There was some risk for Rachel. And so we got to have that tense. It's a classic dramatic moment where, is that person going to get caught doing what they're doing or not? And
Well, but also,
you would take that away if you did that.
everyone's going to be paranoid and watching every little thing everybody does. You'd almost be afraid to go to your bag to get anything for fear people go. Or
the counter
somebody
move is
would demand, okay,
dump 'em.
everybody dump your bag.
Yeah, when they got back.
Yep.
Let's see who got it.
And see if somebody can have it in their hand or manage to hide it and pretend to dump it.
Yeah.
And
because we've
stick
seen that
it in their
before,
pocket.
right?
So
yeah.
that would be fun too. So
Yeah.
I like your idea, Terry.
That's a nice twist. I like that they're trying to keep you off balance with how it's going to, for the castaways.
Yes.
How's this going to play out? Is there going to be one, not be one? So I think Tara's idea would be a fun way to twist a little.
Well, and like you say, we just like to see them shake it up a little. Mm-hmm. Whatever they're doing, shake it up a little, make it different, do something, surprise us.
Yep, excellent. Next up, we got a call from Anderson.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, this is Anderson from North Carolina calling with my feedback from week 8. And, well, thank you guys all for having this wonderful community. And especially thanks to Jeremiah for helping me with getting out of second, almost in the basement, to a comfortable third place in the side challenge.
Nice.
So thanks, Jeremiah. And next week, I have no idea who I'll pick. I'll be listening to the listener feedback show. Yeah, the episode was okay. I don't think that Rachel strategically played her shot in the dark. I listened to Rob Has a Podcast exit interview. Sierra was talking to Rachel, and Rob said Rachel didn't play it strategically. Yeah, so next week, Rachel still has her idol. Sam still has the Gotta idol that expired, and he hasn't even brought it up since the merge. And really trying to think here who I'm going to put. I'm probably going to put Genevieve or somebody like that, because nobody has looked at the Labos as target. And Genevieve's a real threat. I did not change my USB from Sam to anybody else, so I'm basically hopeless to get points for that. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Anderson. Yeah, that's going to be tough. I'm feeling the same way about Kyle. And they're now the Tukus have them the most of any of the original tribes at 4.
Yeah.
So that really stands out. If my guy Kyle doesn't
same
win
with
immunity.
Caroline. I didn't necessarily think that she would make it to the end, but again, it's 24 points. It's hard to give up.
Yep. It's
when
the
there's a chance.
Sunk cost fallacy. I'm in
taker.
for 24. Yeah. Yep. Good deal. Thanks, Anderson. Next up, there's a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. Wow. I looked, and the last time I called this number was over a month ago. So that's crazy.
Wow.
And I missed last week. I just was not quite back in the groove yet. But I am so glad to hear your voices. I'm glad to hear everyone else's voices, too. And what a difference it makes, I think, in the experience of watching Survivor. It's so weird that we're just so used to this being a big part of our weekly Survivor routine that when it's been gone, it's just been like the world is upside down. So welcome back. Congratulations on a big move. I know that that's a lot of work to Survivor. I have been watching with my kids every week, and you guys, this is changing the game. And no pun intended, but the kids are really into it, and there's so much more. Like, they used to watch as you know, they used to watch the challenges and stuff now and then with me, especially Charlie, my oldest. But just to see them so engaged and picking their favorites and cheering for the tribes they've been wanting to do really well. And Charlie really likes Kyle. Adelaide really likes Rachel, and I can't disagree with either of them. So just a lot of great, I think actually some pretty great episodes the last month or so. I only wish that you two had been around to weigh in more on the Rome line side, because that was pretty epic. It was a pretty fantastic twist of event. I just feel like there's been some really satisfying, a lot of times in seasons past, you just keep waiting and hoping and yearning for things to happen, and they just don't. And so it just can be not just unsatisfying, but like really frustrating. So this season, yeah, it's not like everything's playing out exactly how I would have it do, but it's still really some crushing blindsides that are really kind of fun. But yeah, this week to business, it was, I just kind of struck this week about how I really like so many of the players left. Yeah, Rachel, Kyle, I like Saul, I like Teeny, I actually picked Genevieve as my new USB because I had Tiana, and of course she left right before the merge. Or right before the jury, unfortunately. But although that was crazy when Rachel no vote, but I liked the auction. Those fish eggs looked absolutely revolting. I think Caroline is a great player too. Speaking of fish eggs or fish eyes, but I think she's kind of robotic. You know what I mean? I'm not really invested in her journey because I just know she just really wants to play a pretty impactful game. And I feel like she's just kind of driven that way. And I think it's cutting off a little bit of human connection. So I don't know. She seems a little bit like a bot. So next week, I'm kind of hoping that I'm just not into Gabe, I guess. There's a couple I'm just not super crazy into. So I'm sure someone else is going to outline the difference between vegan and vegetarian. So I'll let someone else take up a few seconds to deal with that. But I'm sure maybe you've done some looking into that yourselves. Anyway, great weekend. It's freezing this morning here. It just barely hit 40 degrees, and it's 10 a.m. So, yeah, Julie and I went running, and it was mid-20s, and so brisk and invigorating. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye.
Brisk and invigorating, I bet.
Oh, mid-20s, no.
Goodness. Good deal. Thanks, Drew. There's a theme in the feedback this week. You're hearing it about this season. How much people are enjoying it.
Yeah, and
so
the
many,
cast.
Yeah, so many people in this cast. Good stuff. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and I absolutely love this season. I think it's the best season of the new era so far. Obviously, we got quite a bit to go, but it's been great so far, and I think you can tell that everybody came to play by like the just devastation and the blind sides from every vote off. It's just been so good. I may have lost so many save points, and I did again this week. And so in terms of that, not great, but I'm still enjoying it. Every episode, I'm just coming out loving the season more and more. Last week was a bit of a dud. I was also really busy, so I couldn't record feedback. But I just hate when they split them up right after they're actually merged. They actually give them their buffs, and then they're guess what? Screw you guys. I hate that. But they fixed Mergatory. Everything about this season has been an improvement of the new era mess-ups. And so it's been so good. Yes, a tribe swap would be nice, but the pre-merge was balanced enough that it didn't really matter that there wasn't a tribe swap because not the same tribe didn't lose over and over and over again. It was so balanced, and so that made it much more entertaining, much more satisfying to watch. And it kind of like fixed that like 3-tribe dilemma that we've been getting because of how balanced it is. And this merge has been super fun as well. Again, last week, bit of a dud, but I love the safety without power twist. I love just how hectic that tribal council became. I hate it for Tiana because I really liked her, but it's so good. It's so good. I picked Saul as my new USB. Obviously, I lost Asia really early, and I feel good about it. He had a good episode this week and a good episode last week. The fact that he came out on top of like the Rome versus Saul war was great. But I'm rooting for a lot of people. I really like Saul, obviously. I like Genevieve. I like Rachel, Sam, Kyle. Those are probably my favorites right now. I'm so sick of Gabe, Caroline, and Sue, though. I'm so tired of them. Yeah, I'm so tired of them. Oh, also Teeny's really good as well. I'm loving Teeny. But those three, man. Also Sue being, man, this is such a good win for my generation. When she lies about her age? Dude, what do you mean? I'm ashamed of being however old I am, but I'm doing this for my generation. You're like, bro, what? But, dude, the auction was super fun. This is such a good episode. I lost the save point again, so that sucks. But no, it's been great. It's been super fun, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I'm fully on board the 47 train. I think it's been great. I'm glad Joanne, Stacey, I'm glad you two are back, and I hope that you get to maybe go back and watch this season after it's over when you're a little bit removed from it to like fully appreciate all the craziness and how fun it's been to watch after you're done with all the stressfulness of life. But yeah, no, it's been great. That's all I got. I will see you all next time.
Thanks, Parker. Yeah, we did sort of speed watch to try to catch up, but it wasn't the same for sure. Not getting to talk with you guys about it.
Yeah, not getting to,
Yeah, to really dig in and spend time with it. It was just, let's watch these to make sure that we got
we got to get caught up.
We got the major beats. Yeah.
But let's do it anyway.
Yeah.
Trying to catch up so we could get back
on track. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was different.
Yeah, I feel the same way about this season. Now, I guess the thing that I'm most curious about, well, there's two things. One is that I wonder if it's so much better because the previous 2 casts were so bad. And 2, because there were some horrible players in the previous 2 seasons. And then 2, will casting be able to replicate this again with like Parker was talking about? Anyway, I look forward to...
maybe if they use the formula.
Whatever got us this, if they can replicate. Good deal. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Joe and Stacey and Told Survivor fans, hope everyone is well and safe, and I hope you enjoyed your travels from the west to east coast. I haven't really calculated how far it would be from Cali to Georgia, but from my geography, it would be, well over, 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers. Maybe I'm wrong, but kind of reminds me of how my wife and I did that when we travelled from South Australia to Victoria and from Victoria to Queensland over the course of 2 years, having lived in one of those places for about a year. So yeah, I've done that and it's not fun. So I hope you guys are able to enjoy it as much as you could. On Survivor itself, I'm really enjoying this season. I feel like this season of Survivor, they've been able to finally nail down challenges, the level of production, and props to Jeff and co for that. It's been just really excellent. One thing that I've really noticed that they really couldn't let go of was that this backstory and the sob stories that they've completely erased this season, which I'm really happy about because I had no time for that. I couldn't care less. You can throw in some expletives. I did. Anyway, hated it. Now I'm really enjoying that part. And I think the players are much, much better. And I see that just because of what you said last week, when we're really upset that player is not there anymore, it tells you that was a good player. I think that's like a really easy metric to just do that. There are some of the intricate bits that you can say that what makes a good player. For me, it's the enjoyability of the game. And when, at this moment in time, if I can also ascertain that any one of these players has a case to mount to win the game of Survivor at this moment, at this time, with 10 players left, that's a good season for me. Because in previous seasons, you couldn't mount that case at all. So I think they've really done a good job. I'm really enjoying Sol. Sol's the guy that I've latched onto from day one, even though he didn't have much of an input in the first couple of episodes. I think he's really, really good. I think the lack of JSFL for me this season has kind of helped me in being able to naturally attach myself to player as opposed to artificially throwing my vote, because in the past with JSFL we're trying to estimate who will be good as opposed to who do we enjoy or think we will enjoy playing the game, and that's kind of hard to marry up sometimes it's 2 different people and then you kind of spreading yourself a bit thin in terms of the viewer, but not in this case. I think that's about it, apart from I wonder, in the case of this episode, the idol, if she had used her shot in the dark there, does that not mean then that she doesn't have a vote to be able to then use her idol? Or can she still use her idol after adjudicating everyone else's reaction? And I think Sol might have given her a reaction that made her think not to use it. But anyway, not sure what that's about. If you can clarify that'd be great. Thanks for what you do.
Thanks, Shahin. Yeah, Probst actually covered that in his episode this week. She could have totally used the idol. Hidden immunity idol is not contingent upon having a vote, so it's in power regardless of whether you have a vote or not.
Okay.
I saw, they showed Saul from the side, and he does this thing where he blinks both eyes, and it's noticeable. I picked on it before, so I was wondering when that happened in Tribal Council. Was that just him doing one of his blinks? It's almost like a tick or something. Or was he signaling to her? And since they showed it from the side and you only saw one eye close and open, it did sort of seem like a wink, but I wasn't sure what to make of that. So I don't know how much that played into it or not. But I've been enjoying Saul too.
I did not even notice. So
okay, thanks, Shahin. Next up, we got a call from Sandy.
Hello, Survivor family and Joanne and Stacy. I am calling in today because I am in the top 10 of JSFL. I know. It's shocking, especially since I missed a few picking my players because I was not going across the country. I was out of the country. So, and I am still in the top 10. Then I changed my USB from Rachel to Teeny. And here's Rachel getting all this power and making these moves. And are you kidding me? Oh, well. All right, don't follow me. I just have to point out that, look when you go and see standings, I'm in the top 10. I don't think I'll stay there. But anyway, I'm in the top 10. All right, bye, guys.
Celebrate. Okay.
Good job, Sandy.
Oh. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, what an episode. By the end, I was losing my grip on my emotions. My other observations. Rachel was alone in the dark camp with 10 cameramen and a producer.
True.
Yeah, there's at least two teams, if not more, there with her. So when Jeff handed the idol clue to Rachel, he should have said, "Do you want fries with that?" Sam said the Gado Tuku War is coming. Current score, Tuku 1, Gada 0. Asian Saul and Rachel don't own stores, but they hope the others buy what they're selling. Chocolate potato salad sounded like Monty Python's spam skit. I hope Saul's secret agents worked better for him than Stealth RS did for Philip. Indeed. Rachel was embarrassed when Saul gave her the advantage. She didn't get him anything. Andy's auction experience could be termed safety without food. I saw someone talking about, it was on the Survivor subreddit. They said Andy basically broke it. So he's not at risk of losing his vote. And so, I mean, that's another way to deal with it. You're not going to get any food, but he completely took risk off the table. The rotten coconut is the editor's way of highlighting Saul's Charlie Brown vibe. Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm not a fan of Trader Jeff's cash back program. Yeah, they thought they were being clever, forcing money back in. Sierra is an Easter hunt queen, but she laid an egg at tribal. Sam's Andy is dead last as usual. Smug play-by-play quip made the tribal vote even sweeter. There should be a maximum bid to add competition and strategy back to the auction. Yeah, that's like other people are saying. It's just not much of an auction. There's not bids. It's just whoever has the most wins as you descend.
It's not an auction per se at that point.
Saul's potato chips? I think I'll stick with Lay's. Feedback is due Saturday noon, JST, Joanne and Stacy time. I'm glad they moved near Athens, Georgia instead of Athens, Greece.
We're a long way from Athens.
We're in the same time zone as Athens, Georgia, but that's kind of diagonally opposite from where we are.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, within the state. As compared to California, yes, it's close.
That bowl of mac and cheese was bigger than teeny. Indeed. I hope Gada's chickens didn't wind up as Kyle's spicy wings. Oh, I didn't even think. That's great. Wouldn't that have been... What was it? What was the one called? Ms. Pepper or something like that? That Sierra had named it. And if Kyle had said something and used one of the chickens' names, that would have been over the top, wouldn't it? Oh. As a Shakespearean actor, Jeff would make a good waiter. That apple pie looked more like a giant fruitcake. Yeah, I guess it did, didn't it?
It was dense, yeah.
Well, and it wasn't round. Apple pies are supposed to be round, aren't they?
It was round.
Oh, I thought it was square. I thought it was a rectangle.
No, I don't think so.
All right, my bad. Jeff was mean with his head shake equals yes trick. Yeah, he was putting the deception in there. Most restaurants don't start off meals with a grub appetizer. Many folks have Taco Tuesday. Survivor has Fish Eye Friday. If they have to stop eating when the auction ends, Sam's late round giant breakfast was cruel. As a last meal, a giant helping of peanut butter and chocolate wasn't too bad. Sam can give blessings if he ordained like Jeff. In the vein of the food auction, idol under tarp beats pheasant under glass. The Mission Impossible theme should have played during Rachel's idol heist. Yeah, that would have been good. Would have cost him a fortune though. Participating in the bucket challenge definitely wasn't on anyone's bucket list. I'd expect a pilot to keep her grip for as long as the flight takes. Okay. A nod to Sue there. I like that. To save time, they should just staple the immunity necklace to Kyle. And gotta keeps Andy around until they can't tolerate him. He felt the same about Sierra. There must be a lot of snakes in Fiji because their heads are everywhere. Yes, cutting off the head, cutting off the head. We heard that a lot. For the hair toss in the She's All That montage, model Fabio should have played Andy. Rachel followed the war analogies with a masterful shot-in-the-dark feint. Gabe knows what the WW1 knows about the World War I Christmas truce. He's probably read The Art of War, too. He seems like someone that would have done that in prep. Sam sees himself as a shepherd, or is it a goat herd? Is it me, or did it seem like Jeff changed the revote rules on the fly? It did feel that way. It made sense when you caught that detail, but it did feel like it was changing on the fly. Former beauty queen Sierra is now the queen of Ponderosa. Next time Sam has a vendetta, everyone's the target. Someone blows up everyone's game, and Sam physically intimidates Andy. Will Sam get a Brandon Hance exit? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor friends. Jeremiah here with my feedback for this week. And what an episode it was. We got to see the auction return with some twists to it, some interesting gameplay by Rachel, and of course, that first real vote after the merge, where we get to kind of have an idea, a little bit of who's with who, I think, right? As for the auction's concerned, I actually really like the changes. I think that it's good. Let's keep that going. Maybe having it every other season is not a bad idea. This move that Rachel pulled using her shot in the dark to basically test the temperature of the room to see if she had to use her idol. I think that's pretty smart. There's also other reasons to consider, maybe just using up your shot in the dark sooner rather than later, especially if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, because this might put people's guards down a little bit because they know that you don't have it and you're, they don't have to be nearly as careful when it comes to blindsiding you. I thought the real winners in this episode was definitely, again, this Lavo crew, especially when it comes to Genevieve, and I think Saul was really kind of right in the middle of this. They seem to be in a good spot for sure. I'm really having a hard time to see exactly what's going to happen with the Tuku group because they didn't go after them, so that means they are still all intact. So this is interesting. I'm starting to wonder, is it a chance that they might be the ones that end up in the end? We shall see. Now, of course, all of us had an opportunity to either switch their USB or, like myself, have to pick a new USB. I believe I shared last week that I was leaning towards going with one of the Lava players, which is what I wind up doing. But I immediately regret picking Teeny for my new USB after watching this episode. I do think she has an interesting edit, but this episode really made it clear that she really is not fully in tune with what is going on. I think she has a great social game and could be very dangerous in the end, but we're constantly now being shown that maybe she's not quite the one making the calls.
No agency.
So I'm thinking that maybe I should have gone with either Genevieve or Saul at this point, especially Genevieve. She is really the one right now. Ooh, if they don't get her out, she could be our winner. But like I said, it's possible that one of the Tuku members could also go to the end and win as well. Now, next week, I think it's probably either going to be Sam or maybe it will be Kyle. One of those Tukus might be in trouble. Maybe even Gabe. Of course, I'm sure my mind will change by next week, as it usually does. There's been a lot of talk this week about the fact that we're getting 14 episodes this season, which includes 2 more 2-hour episodes, and the finale is supposed to only be 2 hours. What could this mean? Does this mean maybe they're going back to a Final 5 finale instead? That's the rumors going around. Just thought I would bring that up and hear what you all think about that particular situation. And that's it for me. You all take care until next time. This is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. I think I've been tripped up by hearing that 2-hour finale, but they still tack another hour on.
For the reunion.
Yeah, for the after show, whatever they call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's probably still 3 hours that on the 18th. It's not like they can go another week out. So, and weren't we doing the math on it? It seemed like they were going to end with 5.
I've done no math on anything.
Well, we were talking about how many there were going to be, and we were trying to do numbers. So it seemed math-like to me when we were doing that.
I forgot about it the second we got it.
Okay.
So I have not worked that into my day yet.
I'll have to go look, see if there's a press release with more
We'll do
details.
it.
I hadn't seen that
Yeah.
yet. Thanks for the heads up and the analysis. Good stuff. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California, and I want to begin this episode of listener feedback from me by saying welcome back, Joanna and Stacy. And I'm glad that you made it all the way across the country, safe and sound, and I hope that you're continuing to get all moved in and settled. And here are my thoughts on this episode of Survivor. I'm a big fan of the auction, but I'm not a fan of this version of the auction because it really is less of an auction and more of the one with the most money buys an item. There's really no negotiation, and after the fourth item, it just becomes whoever has the most money buys the item. The rest have no bargaining power, and that's not really an auction to me. I don't know what I would call it. I liked the introduction of the Grub Challenge, which just made me want them to bring back the old gross food eating challenge. That would be one I would really love to see. When Sam lost his vote, I was feeling really good about that because he was who I had for the vote off. Last episode's twist with Saul being able to give Rachel an advantage was so fun to watch, and that was a really nice twist, even though I don't like the whole divide the tribes after the merge kind of twist. Her receiving that advantage was very well timed, and it caused so much drama. I loved it. Anyway, I'm bringing up 2 episodes ago because I like Rachel's character arc. And Saul's too. Even though they've been down and out, they've definitely been on the bottom. They're scrappy, and they've been given advantages and have kind of maximized them, and it's been very fun to watch. So I'm hoping she's going to do good things with this idol that she's found. I was happy to see that Kyle won immunity, but for him it's a double-edged sword. It's good to have immunity, but winning immunities like he is putting a target on his back, so much so that he almost has to win immunity now in order to stay. Having said that, he is playing a really good social game as well. Everybody likes him, so that's to his advantage, and I'm excited to see how he does moving forward. I really like him. I really like a lot of people on this cast. I'm enjoying this cast a lot. I kept Andy as my USB, even though he's such a wild card. He started the game on a low note, but he's getting stronger. I don't know how confident I am that he's going to win the game, but I didn't want to switch away from him on the outside chance that I might get those 24 points if he can pull off a miracle in the end. Anyway, as I said in the beginning, Joanna and Stacy, I'm so glad you're back. Watching Survivor was just not the same without you, and I appreciate you very much. That's it for me. Till next week.
Aw.
Yep.
Thanks, Jen.
Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. So, I was hard-pressed between picking Sam or Sierra to go, and in the end I figured that Andy would go against the normal flow and go for the bigger target, which was Sam, even though I know very well that in a couple alliance, it's usually the woman who pays the price. I guess I should have figured out that Andy would want a face-to-face confrontation with Sam after he flexed his muscles. And even though nothing was hinted at initially in the episode, I was pretty sure things were going to go between Sam and Sierra as the episode played out. A number of things the editor showed us about what Sam and Sierra were saying about Andy just felt like foreshadowing to me. And when Sam narrated the money search, I said, yep, they let Rome do that in the episode that he went out in also. But I've got to admit, I was a bit dismayed to discover that I picked the wrong person to go from the power duo. As for Andy, he is really starting to grate on me. I don't know, it's just the little things that all add up to a big thing to me. When the vote goes his way, he's always got that smarmy, I'm superior smile, and when he chuckled about it, it just made my skin crawl. Or am I imagining that part? Because after saying it, I'm thinking I might have imagined it being worse than it was. It's funny how the mind finds what it wants to see. It's like every single move Andy makes bothers me. And I don't think there's anything at this point he could do that wouldn't bother me. To me, Andy's ability to find money tubes matches his ability to play the game. But he still got Sierra voted out. On the other hand, Sierra and Sam certainly took Andy for granted. No matter how little you think of people in your alliance, you've got to make them feel like they're more than just a vote. And here's where I think that Andy is actually playing the game, but I feel he's shifting more into a villain role in my mind. Or maybe he's like a plague or a blight on his tribe. And the auction was fun, I enjoyed that, but I was shocked when Sierra didn't pick Andy to get food. I read her interview, and I guess I see why she didn't, but that wasn't the way I would have handled it. As we know, though, in the end, Andy got dessert after all. And at the challenge, it actually surprised me how long Andy actually lasted. As I said, the guy is playing the game now. And it also surprised me that everyone was so shocked when their rope came loose from the spool. Apparently, from their angle, it looked like they had more wiggle room. And then there's Kyle, who really doesn't have any choice but to put a bigger and bigger target on his back. I think I'm going to pick him to go next. Rachel, who I really like, could be in trouble, but she does have her idol. And why did she play her shot in the dark if she was worried? I guess she was concerned, but not enough to possibly waste an idol. Well, in the end, he kept her hands clean, so there's that. And I guess that's it for me, because I took no notes at all. I was just riveted to the screen. Take care, everyone, and I'll catch you later. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, riveted to the screen. I felt that way so many times this season already, even though we missed out on some of the big moments, obviously. But I agree 100% with what folks are saying about the cast and this season as a whole. This is absolutely, so far, like Parker's saying, we're tracking. This is the best one of the new era. There's not even a close competition here.
Yeah, and Jeremiah was talking about choosing Alabo. I Saul would be by far my choice out of those three.
Yeah, because it would be more fun, or because you think he's got the most agency of the three?
Just because I like him best,
Okay.
I think.
Sure.
And I think...
Always that.
It's not that I don't think the other two are playing a good game. I do. It's just, I don't know, there's something about Saul that I think is fun, and I think he really is managing to hide some of his strategic side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the others are as under the radar. Genevieve might be some. I can't really tell. But I just think Saul's doing a really good job of that, and I like it.
Yeah, his Project Goofy is
I
working.
like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jeremiah really nailed it with Teeny. She's got no agency. We see her push for Gabe, push for Gabe, push for Gabe. Why not Gabe? And it's just not in play. And that's not the only time that we've seen her try to go in a direction and then make no progress. To her credit, she pivots, she adapts just fine, doesn't make it a big deal. But she asked that legitimate question, well, why wouldn't we go after Gabe? He's vulnerable. Why wouldn't we do that here?
Should have figured out the answer by now.
I don't know that they value
still...
her as a strategic partner. That might be it.
But
there's something about the way she comes across, her appearance, that she's got a very childlike
she's young,
visage.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I don't know if they take her seriously. That might be a problem for her.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
That they like her and she's sweet and all that.
Funny,
but
yeah.
You know.
Love laughing with her, but
let the adults make the decisions.
The decisions. Yeah, the hard decisions.
I don't know if that has any validity whatsoever, but
no, but
it could be because she is young.
It could be that, yes, yeah, and just the way she comes across.
Yeah, because even though my nieces and nephews are certainly adults,
mm-hmm.
I still, call them the kids. Oh well, all the kids are, and
yeah,
and I know they're not kids, but. They're, in my mind, they are still those kids.
So there was a good example of this in how that can affect you, that perception in
mm-hmm.
Sierra's interviews. She said, look, Andy's clearly older than me. I'm in my 20s, he's in his 30s. But to me, he felt like a little brother.
Yeah.
And that was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah, and to the point that Paul was making, I get this Renfield kind of vibe off of him. So there's that sycophant kind of thing happening, and he's not really clear. He's going to chameleon his way into things. You're not sure where he's coming from. There's no real center, and obviously can flip and wig out on you at any moment. So I've always thought that's one of the types of players that I immediately want to get rid of, just because you cannot count on them. It's a different strategy to try to bring them along with you, but you see what happened to Sierra and Sam now with trying to do that, to trying to just keep him there as a vote. Sometimes those players bite back.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to go next week because there's just so many ripe targets.
Yeah. Kyle's got to keep winning, or we've got to see evidence of him having a bigger, broader, being part of the primary alliance, and I don't see that.
I haven't seen it.
Still think he's going to be the first Tuku left to go after the merge, unfortunately. And I did the same thing. I stuck with him for my USB. I love watching him play and all that, and I knew there was an extreme risk he was going to get voted out as soon as he stopped winning.
Yeah, and still may. He just hadn't stopped winning yet.
Yeah. I don't think Sue would play her idol for him to try to get the upper hand on an alliance or anything. So
only if Gabe wanted it. If Gabe told her to, she might.
Right. Yeah.
But Gabe doesn't know she has it, does he? Has she shared it? We haven't seen her share it. But because Tiana knew and Caroline knew, surely she's told.
You would think, given their relationship and how she's been running back and telling him everything that she did.
She has told.
But if that were the case, look at this. Wouldn't he absolutely be chirping about it? Yeah. He loves being in the confessional and talk about his 2 wounded birds and how they're feeding him information and all that stuff, yada, yada. So if he knew that, we would have already gotten it. Now, the editors may be holding it back.
No, I think they would hold it back. It doesn't mean he hasn't been. It just means we haven't seen it. So, but I think he could get her to use it if he said, look, this is how we stay 4 strong. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, they would still be outnumbered if everybody gangs up. But if Kyle could keep winning. But then the other end of that is, then if you don't have protection of some sort, then the other people are more vulnerable. He's more vulnerable.
Who's the next woman they would target? It is Rachel, right? She doesn't have agency either.
They're still going to go after Rachel. And it's okay if they do, because she can play her idol. Yay, go Rachel.
Well, that would get her one more game cycle. I don't know what would happen after that, or who you would need to take out to give her a little bit more time, potentially.
Well, it depends on how many people Saul can pull into his
Saul's
group.
Secret agents?
Yes, his agents. And if Saul is close with Teeny and Genevieve, or, I'm not real certain how much they're not showing us as much about how the 3 of them are interacting together.
They're clearly still working together, but I don't think Genevieve is loyal to them at all.
Yeah, I think there's more to be seen about Genevieve, because you could tell by the way she was talking and her facial expressions that, everybody's yes, we're all this, but everybody wants somebody else, and we're not together.
Yeah, they're letting her be a narrator a lot.
Yes, they are.
I'm not clear on who's doing the consensus building, though. I've gone back and watched, and I still couldn't see 100% who was it that rallied and focused on Sierra. Even Sam and Sierra thought it was Sam in the last vote, because she had a vote, and she was obviously, Sierra was going to have to vote for Sam. Sam was telling her, I hope you have a good game, because he was basically saying his goodbyes on the way out. So shocked to see that he was still there, and now what does he have?
Right.
Doesn't have Andy. May not have Rachel.
Well, he looked like he was about to eat Andy.
Yeah. Definitely not happy. Yeah.
Of course, that could be just one facial expression. Who knows?
Yeah.
But the editors obviously liked it enough to show it on next on.
Yep. And he could be hiding it, too.
True.
From even Andy, not letting him see it.
Yeah.
I want to say a big thank you to everybody who contributed to the show this week. That was really great. And we appreciate hearing from all of you. Enjoyed it. Love getting your insights on how you're seeing the game, letting us see it through someone else's eyes.
And if you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 9 picks for 1 person voted off and 4 people who will still be safe at the end of the episode. Before we close, we just wanted to say that Our heartfelt condolences go out to Jeff and all of his family on the loss of his mom, Barbara. We didn't know her well, but she was such a joy to be around at the Survivor finales.
Yeah, we got to meet her and talk with her.
Yeah.
And you would catch up with her. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jeff's family, his dad and his brother and his wife and kids, and they were always hanging around at the hotel. They enjoyed the fans. Barbara loved to come out and talk with everybody, and she was so delightful and funny, and she was such a generous person with all of us fans. And
she was Jeff's biggest fan for sure.
Yeah, she was a very proud mama. Yes, she was. And she didn't mind telling anybody that Jeff was her son. And so I'm sure she will be greatly missed. So may you rest in peace, Barbara.
Okay, we'll be back on Wednesday with our next recap. Have a good one.